you would probably get just a handful of people that would be on that list.
Country music has given the world timeless songs about love, heartbreak, and longing. Sometimes, the real stories behind the stars are even more surprising. Secret connections, late-night tours, whispered romances, and complicated timing shape lives as much as the songs themselves. What really happened behind the scenes when the country's biggest legends were drawn to each other? Number 15. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw. Country celebrities. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw met with little to no drama. It was just two successful artists with the same circle of friends. They shared nothing but the stages, rehearsals, and exhausting tours that would go on for hours. The friendship came slowly, the way it often does when people spend their days working side by side. The connection was easy, mutual, and could be noticed in small moments. All that changed with time. Before fans knew it, their relationship began to drift from professional to personal. Let's not forget that Tim McGraw was still legally married, although separated from his spouse. The marriage was already ending, but the paperwork had not yet caught up with reality. That little detail has tainted the story ever since. It promised to ruin a story of new beginnings and love to one of scandal and cheating, and it did. There were no explosive headlines or public confrontations. No interviews pointed fingers at them. People found out slowly. It was official with the signing of the papers. When they chose to move forward together, they did so openly, without theatrics, and with a sense of certainty that suggested the decision had been carefully weighed. What stands out most is what came afterward. Their relationship did not spiral into chaos or public damage. Instead, it became an enviable romance. Tim McGraw has spoken about how the relationship pushed him towards sobriety and self-discipline, marking a turning point in his personal life. And Faith Hill, already established, became part of a partnership that strengthened her career. Over time, people forgot all about the origin story of this country-themed romance. The intrigue was forgotten with every new song and tour. All that remained was love, strength, and mutual respect. That's the first of it. Number 14. Kris Kristofferson and Rita Coolidge. When Kris Kristofferson and Rita Coolidge came together, it felt less like an unexpected match and more like two strings of a guitar strumming a tune. Both were deeply engaged in the music world, surrounded by long nights, shared stages, and a creative atmosphere that blurred the line between work and emotions. Their connection grew quietly, strengthened by music and dreams. At the time, both these stars were having it tough. They both carried the weight of past relationships yet to be forgotten. Kris had only parted with his high school sweetheart Frances Beer, and Joe Cocker was somewhere in Rita's past. When they met on a flight to Memphis, the chemistry felt irresistibly right. It started as a close collaboration between two singers. Suddenly, it bloomed into something more personal, something deeper, something that led to their marriage 3 years later. There was no effort to hide once the relationship became clear. They moved forward openly, marrying in 1973. For a while, it seemed like a natural union of talent and spirit. They performed together, recorded together, and lived inside the same creative rhythm. From the outside, it looked like harmony. From the inside, the cracks became visible. Both artists were strong personalities, each wrestling with expectations, ambition, and the pressure of constant attention. Over time, affection gave way to strain. Arguments became frequent. Alcohol and exhaustion widened the cracks. The relationship, once built on shared understanding, began to feel heavy instead of supportive. When the marriage ended in 1980, there was sadness, but little surprise. It closed without spectacle, leaving behind music that still carried the warmth of what once was. Neither spent much time assigning blame in public. The story was allowed to settle on its own. What remains are the ashes of what once was. Their relationship began after a storm and ended before both could fully heal. Yet it left a lingering touch on their work and on each other. It stands as a reminder that even gentle beginnings can carry quiet complications, and that love, formed in transition, often struggles to survive once the moment passes. Number 13. Waylon Jennings and Jessi Colter. When Waylon Jennings and Jessi Colter found each other, both were already living complicated lives shaped by music, marriage, and showbiz. They moved within the same country circles, sharing studios, musicians, and the quiet understanding that comes from the same line of work. Their bond did not arrive suddenly. It built itself slowly, carried by conversation, shared faith, and a sense of being seen. At the time, neither story was clean. Both were married to other people when their relationship began to deepen. The affair was not loud, but it was real, and it placed their connection in a scandalous situation. There was no public unraveling, no dramatic reveal. Instead, life shifted in small steps, with endings that came before beginnings could happen. Once free to choose openly, they did not hesitate. Marriage followed, and with it came a partnership that would last for decades. Their life together was far from perfect. Waylon's struggles with addiction cast long shadows over their early years, bringing tension and fear into the home. Jessi became both partner and anchor, offering patience during moments when stability felt out of reach. What makes their story remarkable is not how it started, but how it survived. Through recovery, faith, and shared purpose, the relationship transformed from something uncertain into something deeply rooted. Their music reflected this shift, moving from restless defiance toward reflection and grace. Looking back, the beginning still carries discomfort. Love arrived before closure, and that truth cannot be wished away. Yet the years that followed rewrote the meaning of their union. What began an emotional overlap settled into loyalty and growth. In a world where many connections fade under pressure, theirs endured, shaped by hardship, honesty, and the choice to stay. Number 12, George Jones and Tammy Wynette. George Jones and Tammy Wynette came together in an inevitable moment that felt as if two wounded voices had finally recognized each other. Both were already stars, carrying personal histories marked by struggle, loss, and a deep need to be understood. Their connection was intense from the beginning, driven as much by emotion as by admiration. It moved quickly, leaving little room for caution. Neither life was steady at the time. Tammy Wynette was navigating the end of a marriage, while George Jones was already battling addiction and inner chaos. Their relationship formed inside that instability, growing in an environment where feelings often ran ahead of reason. What followed was not a gentle blending of lives, but a collision. At first, the passion felt powerful. They recorded together, toured together, and presented an image of country royalty. The songs carried real pain, because the pain was real. Behind the scenes, volatility ruled. Arguments were frequent. Substance abuse worsened. Trust eroded under pressure. Neither of them knew how to manage. Their marriage became a cycle of closeness and collapse. Love existed, but so did fear and exhaustion. Tammy endured emotional and physical strain, later speaking openly about the toll it took on her. George's demons remained unchecked for years, pulling the relationship further apart. When the marriage ended, it did not end the bond completely. The emotional imprint lingered, showing up in later music and public reflections. They never fully escaped each other's shadow, even as life moved on. This story carries more weight because of the damage it caused while it lasted. What began with shared pain deepened that pain instead of healing it. It stands as one of the country music's most haunting unions, not because of scandal, but because love alone was not enough to save it. Number 11, Hank Williams and Audrey Shepherd. When Hank Williams and Audrey Shepherd came together, the pull between them was strong and immediate. Hank was already becoming a defining voice in country music, while Audrey was drawn to both the man and the momentum building around him. Their relationship formed while Hank was still married, and from the beginning, it carried tension that never fully eased. Audrey became deeply involved in Hank's life and career. She believed in his talent and pushed fiercely for his success, often placing herself between him and the people around him. To some, she was protective, to others, controlling. What is clear is that their bond was intense, built on ambition as much as affection. As Hank's fame grew, so did his struggles. Drinking worsened his health and sharpened his moods. Audrey tried to manage the chaos, but the pressure only increased. Love turned brittle under constant stress. Arguments became common. Trust weakened. The relationship stopped being a place of rest and became another battleground. Their marriage was marked by cycles of closeness and collapse. Audrey's influence over Hank's professional decisions created resentment within the industry, while Hank's unreliability made stability impossible at home. Neither could fully pull away, yet neither could truly fix what was breaking. When the marriage finally ended, it left deep marks on both sides. Hank's decline continued, and Audrey remained a controversial figure long after his death. often blamed, fairly or not, for parts of his downfall. The truth sits somewhere in between, shaped by addiction, fear, and impossible expectations. This story lingers because it shows how love mixed with control and pressure can slowly turn destructive. What began with devotion and belief became weighed down by conflict, leaving behind a legacy colored as much by pain as by music. Number 10. Johnny Cash and June Carter. Johnny Cash met June Carter, and there was an unmistakable spark, the one of romantic poetry. It smoldered with their glowing careers, but here's the catch. Both were already married to other people, but the connection between them grew slowly, almost imperceptibly, through laughter, conversation, and the music that threaded their lives together. It was not sudden. It was patient, persistent, and undeniable. The beginnings of their relationship were complicated. Johnny struggled with addiction, personal demons, and a marriage that was unraveling. June was married as well, living within a world of constant travel and performance. Their closeness began as support and understanding, a safe harbor in a life that was otherwise turbulent. They sang together, harmonized on songs, and found in each other a rhythm that went beyond the stage. The emotional depth between them was obvious, though no one rushed to dramatize it. They stayed mostly private, letting their bond develop quietly, avoiding confrontation or public scandal. Still, the truth of their feelings slowly became clear to those around them. When Johnny's first marriage ended, the path toward June opened fully. Their eventual marriage was celebrated not as a sudden scandal, but as a long-awaited union that made sense to everyone who had watched the connection grow over time. Together, they navigated life's challenges, including addiction, touring pressures, and personal hardships, drawing strength from one another. What makes their story so enduring is the patience and the subtlety of the beginning. Love existed long before it could be claimed openly. It endured years of difficulty and quiet struggle, eventually blossoming into a partnership that was stable, supportive, and famously devoted. Their journey shows how even complicated beginnings can lead to lasting strength when honesty and care guide the way. Number 9. Merle Haggard and Bonnie Owens. Merle Haggard had already carved his place in country music when Bonnie Owens entered the picture. She was part of his world long before romance appeared, singing, performing, and navigating the same circuits, their voices often intertwining on stage. Their friendship ran deep, built on mutual respect and shared understanding. But something more quietly grew beneath the surface. Both were carrying lives already in motion. Bonnie was married previously, and Merle's world was full of touring, late nights, and the strain of a career that demanded constant attention. Their connection was never loud or flashy. It slipped in gently through late conversations, supportive gestures, and long hours spent making music together. By the time anyone noticed, the bond had already strengthened in private. Romance began carefully, not recklessly. It was measured, shaped by timing and circumstance, yet impossible to ignore. Their relationship moved from friendship into intimacy while keeping public fallout minimal. They were conscious of the line they were crossing, yet the music and understanding between them made it feel inevitable. Marriage followed, and it became a partnership that balanced passion with stability. Their lives intertwined professionally and personally, and Bonnie often acted as an anchor during Merle's struggles with fame and personal challenges. Arguments came, like in any marriage, but the foundation of trust and shared purpose gave their union resilience. Looking back, it is clear that their story was never about scandal or spectacle. It was about two people navigating the complicated paths of life and love, building something quietly enduring amid an industry known for fleeting connections. Their relationship shaped not only their music, but their sense of home, proving that careful timing and deep respect can turn fragile beginnings into lasting harmony. Number 8. Buck Owens and Bonnie Owens. Music brought Buck Owens and Bonnie Owens into each other's orbit long before romance took hold. They shared stages, late-night rehearsals, and the unspoken understanding of artists who had spent years chasing a sound that never let them rest. Their connection started quietly, through friendship and mutual respect. Yet over time it grew into something more personal, a bond that neither could fully ignore. At the outset, both lives were complicated. Bonnie was ending one chapter, Buck navigating the pressures of rising fame and the constant demands of the music industry. Their relationship did not burst into the public eye, It unfolded gradually, in private moments between performances and in the small gestures that only those close to them could see. Romance developed carefully, shaped by circumstance and timing. It was not reckless or impulsive, but emerged from a place of shared experience and understanding. Even as their lives intertwined, they remained conscious of the consequences, aware of how their closeness would be perceived both professionally and personally. Marriage followed, and it became a partnership of equals, blending talent with support. Bonnie's presence steadied Buck during the ups and downs of touring life, while he provided her with a sense of belonging in an industry that could be isolating. Their union was not without struggle, yet the foundation of trust and shared purpose helped them navigate challenges that might have undone lesser partnerships. What lingers in their story is not scandal, but quiet resilience. Together, they built a life that influenced their music, shaped their careers, and left an imprint on those who witnessed their collaboration. Theirs was a connection forged in understanding, strengthened through patience, and lasting because it was rooted in respect. In a world where fleeting romances often dominate headlines, Buck and Bonnie's relationship stands as a testament to love that grows steadily, quietly, and with enduring grace. Number 7. Vince Gill and Amy Grant. Vince Gill and Amy Grant found themselves drawn together at a delicate time in their lives. Both were married when the connection first appeared, their paths crossing within the same circles of music and shared faith. It began quietly, a series of conversations, collaborations, and moments of understanding that slowly deepened into something neither could ignore. Their lives were complicated. Each carried the weight of previous commitments, public expectation, and personal ambition. The relationship grew in the spaces between performances and recording sessions, in the small hours of travel, and in the private moments that outsiders rarely saw. It was careful and measured, yet the emotional pull was undeniable. Unlike stories that erupt in scandal, this connection unfolded with restraint. They did not seek attention, and the industry around them largely respected the subtlety with which it progressed. Still, the circumstances made the path forward difficult. Feelings had to be weighed against obligations, and choices carried consequences that could not be ignored. Eventually, both found the clarity to pursue a life together openly. The transition was gradual, marked by reflection, understanding, and personal growth. Their bond, once hidden behind layers of circumstance, became the foundation for a relationship built on mutual respect and shared values. What endures from this story is not drama or public conflict, but the quiet navigation of life's challenges. The connection between Vince and Amy shows that love does not always arrive at a perfect moment. Sometimes it begins under difficult conditions, requiring patience, honesty, and courage. Number 6. Dwight Yoakam and Sharon Stone. Dwight Yoakam's life was already filled with the restless energy of a musician, constantly on the move when he met Sharon Stone. Their worlds overlapped briefly but intensely, drawn together by late nights, shared circles, and a spark that neither could ignore. It was not a public affair, nor one that made headlines at the time. Instead, it existed quietly, threaded through conversations, meetings, and fleeting moments away from prying eyes. The timing was delicate. Both had obligations and lives that demanded attention elsewhere. Their connection was private, attention that grew in subtle ways rather than through bold declarations. Even in its quietness, it carried weight and a sense of possibility that made ordinary encounters feel charged with meaning. Unlike relationships that explode into the public eye, this one moved in whispers and glances. Choices had to be made with care, and every interaction held the risk of misunderstanding. The connection was never careless. It was alive in its restraint, delicate in the balance between longing and responsibility. What remains remarkable about this story is the sense of intensity without destruction. The affair never became a public spectacle, yet it left an impression on both lives. It shaped decisions, influenced future relationships, and added a quiet complexity to their personal histories. In the end, it was a fleeting chapter that proved memorable because of what it revealed. Even short-lived connections can leave deep impressions when they arrive at the edges of opportunity and restraint. Number 5. Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert. Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert met in a world of music that was fast, bright, and demanding. Both were already established artists, carrying past experiences and personal histories into the partnership. Their connection started naturally, in shared tours, late-night conversations, and the small moments that come from being constantly in each other's orbit. At first, it was easy to see them as collaborators, friends, and companions navigating the pressures of fame. Over time, however, the friendship deepened into something more personal. The line between work and life blurred, and their bond began to hold emotional weight that could not be ignored. Their relationship was not hidden, but neither was it explosive. It unfolded alongside careers that required attention, travel, and constant public scrutiny. As their connection grew, so did the complications. Both were navigating previous relationships and public perception, balancing their feelings against expectations from fans, the media, and their own ambitions. Eventually, the personal outweighed the professional. Their partnership became public, and the reality of love and complexity was on display. Though there was no calculated scandal, the timing and circumstances drew attention. Fans and industry observers could see the shift, even if they did not know the full story. Through the challenges, the relationship shaped both artists. It influenced their work, their public image, and their personal growth. In retrospect, it stands as a reminder that love does not always arrive under simple conditions. It grows amid complexity, requiring care, patience, and honesty. Their story is not one of drama for drama's sake, but of human connection navigating life's unpredictable paths, showing how relationships can evolve quietly, intensely, and with lasting influence even amid the bright glare of public attention. Number 4. Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani. Blake Shelton's world shifted quietly when Gwen Stefani entered it. Both were carrying the weight of ending previous relationships, yet their connection began naturally, in shared moments and conversations that felt easy, familiar, and unforced. There was no sudden spark that demanded attention. It was only a slow recognition of understanding, humor, and companionship that grew stronger with time. The timing was delicate. Both were emerging from complicated chapters in their personal lives, and the new connection had to navigate lingering responsibilities and public expectation. Even so, the relationship developed steadily, built on shared experiences, late-night talks, and the subtle rhythm of two people learning how to fit into each other's worlds. Their partnership did not erupt into scandal. Instead, it unfolded in a measured, quiet way. Music, schedules, life's demands interwove with their growing closeness. Every decision was considered, every step taken with care, and yet the bond deepened naturally without fanfare or spectacle. What made the story compelling was not drama, but the intensity of timing. Two lives, each shaped by recent endings, began to overlap, forming a relationship that required patience, honesty, and resilience. Their connection shaped both their work and their personal growth, showing how love can arrive amid complexity and uncertainty. Over time, the relationship settled into a partnership. It carried the weight of prior experiences without being defined by them, and it offered both comfort and challenge in equal measure. Theirs is a story of quiet transformation, reminding us that love can emerge carefully, deliberately, and with lasting depth, even after difficult beginnings. Number 3. Jason Aldean and Brittany Kerr. Jason Aldean and Brittany Kerr's connection began quietly, away from the stage lights and cameras, in moments that only they could fully understand. Both were living lives shaped by prior commitments, and the circumstances that brought them together were delicate, requiring discretion and thought. Their bond grew slowly through conversation, shared experiences, and the unspoken understanding that developed when two people recognized something meaningful in each other. At first, it was a private rhythm, unnoticed by anyone outside their circle. They spent time together carefully, aware of the timing and the implications, yet drawn to each other in a way that felt natural and unforced. It was not about drama or spectacle, but about the quiet pull of connection that grows in subtle ways. As their relationship became more visible, it naturally drew attention. Unlike fleeting rumors or distant speculation, there were moments of public acknowledgement that confirmed what many had suspected. The bond was real, and it mattered to both of them. Even so, they approached it with care, navigating the complexities of timing, previous relationships, and public perception. What makes this story remarkable is the balance between intensity and discretion. The connection altered their personal lives, shaped their choices, and influenced the path forward, yet it never descended into chaos. It remained at its core a private and human story of two people finding each other amid complication. Over time, the relationship grew into a partnership that carried both challenges and stability. It shows how love can emerge under difficult circumstances, requiring thought, patience, and respect. In their story, the focus is not on scandal, but on the quiet, lasting impact of connection, proving that even complicated beginnings can lead to meaningful, enduring relationships. Number 2, Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood had known each other for years before anything changed between them. Their paths crossed often in the country music world, in award shows, tours, and shared circles of friends and collaborators. There was always a professional respect, a quiet admiration for each other's craft, but over time, that respect deepened into something more personal. Both were carrying the weight of existing relationships when their closeness began. It was never reckless, but the timing made it complicated. Moments of conversation, laughter, and support slowly formed a bond that neither could ignore. They were careful, aware of the delicate balance between personal feeling and public scrutiny. Their connection unfolded without drama. There were no explosive headlines or confrontations. Instead, it grew quietly, almost imperceptibly, through gestures, shared experiences, and the understanding that comes from long acquaintance. Fans and industry observers began to notice a warmth between them, but the story was largely contained, managed with thoughtfulness by both parties. As circumstances changed, the relationship moved into the open. It became clear that what had begun in quiet moments was a true partnership. Their bond influenced not only their personal lives, but also their music, bringing new depth to performances and collaborations. What makes their story compelling is the way love arrived amid complexity and restraint. Even when timing and public perception could have turned connection into controversy, patience and honesty guided the way. Over time, Garth and Trisha built a lasting relationship that balanced their personal happiness with professional lives under constant observation. It is a story that proves love can grow carefully, thoughtfully, and meaningfully, even when the beginnings are complicated and the path forward is not simple. Number 1, Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty. Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty are the #1 whirlwind couple from the days of country sensation. They shared a connection that has lingered in the minds of country music fans for decades. Both were towering figures in the industry, their voices familiar across radio waves and stages. Yet their relationship was never simple. Like most of the other stars we've featured, these two moved in the same circles, often crossing paths at recording sessions, award shows, and industry events. In those simple moments, an understanding quietly grew between them. It was not flashy or theatrical, but it was undeniably a bond built on shared experiences, mutual admiration, and the intimacy of two artists who knew the pressures and solitude of fame. Their lives were complicated long before their paths crossed in this way. Both had marriages, families, and personal histories that weighed heavily on their decisions. What drew them together was a subtle, persistent recognition of compatibility. It was a feeling that each could relate to the other's struggles and triumphs in ways few others could. Unlike relationships that erupt into headlines, this connection remained largely private. There were no public confrontations or scandalous revelations at the time. Rumors eventually surfaced, and fans speculated for years, but much of what happened was kept quietly between the two of them. What makes this relationship enduring is the tension between speculation and restraint. It reminds us that human connection does not always announce itself dramatically. Some bonds are subtle, growing in quiet moments and private spaces, leaving marks not in headlines but in music, memory, and the unspoken recognition between two people who truly understand each other. Even decades later, the story of Loretta and Conway continues to fascinate. Their connection, however complex, reflects the truth that some relationships exist and thrive in the gentle currents of respect, admiration, and human closeness, shaping lives quietly but profoundly. That's our #1 in this list.